Welcome into Tapping Vegas, brought to you by Better and Green. And if you clicked on this video, we have two things for you. One, you're a sick individual. And number two, this is the show for you. So thank you guys for clicking. Welcome in. Guys, thank you to our friends over at DraftKings. If you haven't yet, make an account with them. Use the link in our bio. And guys, you can get up to $300 by placing just a $5 bet. So guys, check that out. We are breaking down Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber. This card had a couple fights fall through that I was looking forward to, but we are going to give you guys 5 fights we think can win you some money. Bobby, why don't you start taking this first fight away, man?
Jordan Leavitt versus Kurt. What's all the Holobaugh? So my notes on Captain Kurt here. Really good pressure. I like how he has some good body shots. Mixes his shots up well, which is always good to see. Vicious liver attacks. Really good stuff. Usually looks slower than his opponents. It always seems like his timing's just like a half beat behind most of his opponents, which is interesting to me. Had some good calf kicks against Bassett. Really good to see that. In his fight against Jason Knight, Kurt also had a great elbow off the clinch against Knight. When Knight was kind of wanting to initiate the clinch, it was really cool to see him kind of do that Leon Edwards style elbow off the break in the clinch. Jason Knight was known as Hick Diaz during his UFC tenure, so definitely somebody who was trying to grapple and just could not ever initiate that against Kurt. Here's where we start to get into some problems, though, that play heavily into this fight and play into the style of Jordan Leavitt. Front kicks to the body really disrupt Kurt. I notice that every time he fights an opponent that kind of kicks at his body like that, he really just gets bounced back almost comically and kind of struggles with that, and it disrupts his already poor timing. His right hook is his money shot. It looks like he dropped a few guys with that. Usually leads to him getting some ground and pound finishes. It's one of his best strikes. Usually puts a guy on their butt once he gets it in. Leavitt uses a lot of those front kicks. Like the Paddy Pimblett fight, constantly was using those front kicks. I think that's going to be terrible for Holobaugh. We already know he's a great grappler. Had some fun sequences there with Paddy. Had some fun sequences with Chase Hooper until he ended up getting rear naked. But, hey, he's a really good grappler. Has some slam finishes, so thank God Zach Reese isn't fighting this guy or else he'd be done for. He's the men's head and arm champ. If you know anything about the head and arm throw, that's primarily like a WMMA meme. Dude gets some head and arm throws in men's MMA. That's hilarious to me. I think Jordan Leavitt takes this fight. Initially, I kind of thought maybe Holobaugh had a chance, but man, everything that Leavitt does is kind of like the thorn in the side to Kurt. Those front kicks are really going to disrupt him. The grappling's going to disrupt him. The clinch is going to disrupt him. If he keeps it striking, he's going to be fine, but I don't think he can keep it striking. I think Jordan Leavitt's just too slick. Jordan Leavitt's going to pressure him. He's going to get him up against the fence at least a few times, dominate the clinch, dominate the grappling, maybe get a slam. Don't think he'll get a slam finish, but I could see a sub potentially. I really think Leavitt's going to take this fight. His style is pretty much tailor-made to kind of be a problem for Kurt. Let me check out what the odds are looking like on this. I know last time I checked, I do believe they had Leavitt as the favorite, which is unfortunate, but I do agree with it. And it looks like, Jordan Leavitt pretty heavy, minus 238. You got plus 195 on Kurt. 32% of bets are on Holobaugh, 68% on Leavitt, so that's unfortunate, but I mean, it's how I see it going. I don't think Leavitt will get the KO, TKO. I think if he wins, it'll be by sub. So I'm actually probably going to take the sting off and go by sub at plus 300 unless I change my mind. How do you see this fight playing out?
Unfortunately, Bobby, we're starting out on opposite sides of the octagon here. Normally, we don't start the show on opposite sides, so it is interesting we are for this episode. I just think Holobaugh is just a better striker. And I think Leavitt is just the most prototypical meme of a BJJ guy. And if you've seen him twerk in the cage, you know he wants you to crawl on top of him. You know he wants you to enter his guard. You know that he wants to get you in a compromised situation. But, you know, I'll admit it, I am a Leavitt hater. But I think people are seeing that Holobaugh's the old guy here. They're seeing that. They're seeing that he's at the reach disadvantage, although it's only an inch. But they're just seeing things that are kind of like, I don't know. I don't know about Holobaugh anymore. I think if I'm just looking at this on paper, Leavitt's the guy. And I think if there's a submission, it's going to be Leavitt. But I think if there's a knockout, it's going to be Holobaugh. I think if there's a decision, it's going to be Holobaugh. So I think there's more methods for him to win. And I think if he's smart, he can stay away from the getting on the ground and grappling. If he's smart, and which we've seen more than enough times, people being willing to just go with it, right? Just meet the guy where he is. Let Leavitt stay on the ground, make the ref get him up. Holobaugh is the more busy striker. We just talked to Patrick last week about, those like points of impact and like control time doesn't matter. And I'm going to take that. Really, I'm a big wrestling guy and I love wrestling. But after talking with Patrick, how can you completely dominate a fight with grappling? I feel like it's hard because you get the takedown, right? And then you're just fighting for submission after submission after submission, which normally doesn't happen. You're usually working a couple minutes to get to that submission place. So if you can't count any of that writing time, it feels a little bit like it's leaning. The UFC's leaning towards striking, grading right now underneath the current rules that we have. And like you said, 68% of the bets are on Leavitt, 80% of the money. So I'm going to be on the side that has less bets and less money with Vegas here.
All right.
Let's talk about the second fight, though. This is Zach Reese versus Dusko Todorovic.
Yeah.
That man's head looks like an egg. That man has the longest head I think I've ever seen. But
long neck mother.
Long neck man. They're both 31, so kind of surprising. They're both older than I thought they would be. And I think I'm going to have to go with Reese here. And I know there's been a couple times that Reese has really burned us in the past. And I really don't love that he's a 2-1 favorite because I feel like this is closer to a, minus 150, minus 160 favorite. Minus 230 seems a little bit high. But I just think he's going to be the better striker. Todorovic seems like a guy that he just also is pretty content to sit there and strike. A lot of people agree with me. 89% of the bets, and I'm getting my numbers off of Pickett. Bobby's got numbers off of DraftKings, so hopefully these numbers are pretty similar. But I'm seeing 89% of bets on Reese, 94% of the money. So it's all coming in on Reese, and maybe that's why we're seeing this line like this has climbed so high, just because of, the Reese money line is the most picked bet out there. So I like Reese. Do I like him at the minus 200? Not really, but I don't want to take him. Should I? I don't know. I'll have the balls. You know what? No, I'll have the balls. I'll take Reese by knockout. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I don't have much to add to this. This is one of those painful matchups where none of the tape that I was watching on either guy is really anything to write home about. Notes I have would be Dusko Todorovic, wild, aggressive guy, does have some good kicks and some good stance switching that he was showing off against Michel Pereira in one of the Serbian fighting championships. He had some good pressure and clinch work, wasn't afraid of Pereira, which is, key to a guy like that that's, constantly explosive, always a big play threat, basically, to use a football term. It's always ready to just throw a wild spinning kick or, backflip into your guard, that type of thing to pass, etc. Reese really leveled up his striking Muay Thai when he took a finger quotations little trip to Thailand. If you know, you know. He's been training with Sean Strickland, apparently. I saw an interview where he said that 3 weeks ago. So hopefully his striking gets even better. Mm-hmm. And, as long as he doesn't end up on the ground against Dusko, he's fine because that man has been slammed by Cody Brundage. And then I forget who it was that just stood over him and just pounded away at him as he tried to get closed guard wrapped up. And he just got lights out by that dude. But, hey.
He wasn't good either.
I don't know what the hell's going on with that man to where he's like one-shotted the minute his back hits the mat. He's like a turtle, and he's just done for, and he's just getting violently removed from consciousness. But Yeah, I'll go Reese for all the things that we discussed, and I'll just ride that KO with you. Why not? I mean, it is concerning because from what I did see of Dusko, he does end up in those positions a lot on top on the ground. So God forbid that happens this weekend. But I'm going to really hope that the anomaly that is Zach Reese, that can look overwhelmingly good when he wins and overwhelmingly terrible when he loses, I'm going to hope the pendulum swings back again for him looking pretty decent and getting another fast KO, I hope.
I hope so too. I hope it's fast. I really hope we get it like first round. Never touch the ground. Just stand, bang, get your hand raised. Get out of there.
Right.
Bobby, take this third fight, man.
Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopes. Yeah, Dustin Jacoby. Really fun fighter for light heavyweight. He's pretty much the definition of maybe like a Dan Hooker type for light heavyweight, right? You never really think he's going to win the belt, but hey, every fight he's in is going to be at least a little bit entertaining for the most part. He'll do some crazy stuff. He'll be a great like working man's fighter, if you will, if I can relate to the little guy out there. And then Bruno Lopes, right? Bruno Lopes coming in all old up and whatnot, looking all nice and sheen with his Dolce and Gabbana belt. And how is this man already 38? Or is that the footballer? That might be the footballer.
I think that's a footballer. I got Lopez at 32.
Footballer. Okay, never mind. That's the footballer. Yeah, so the fighter's 32, so that's a spring chicken for light heavyweight. This dude could fight another 20 years. So that's good. 6 deuce, 74-inch reach. Sexy marks hell yeah at the doctor's office. That's for Bruno. We got 6'3" for Jacoby with a 76-inch reach. Just has to outclass the guy by just a few inches. But he's older, 37. Still young for light heavyweight, though. He could probably fight another 10 years. But yeah, I mean, Dustin Jacoby, I think Dustin Jacoby can get it done. He's kind of been a little spotty in his last 5, right? He's won 2, lost 3. I get it, but I mean, he's fought some pretty good competition, right? Dominic Reyes is having a career resurgence, which is nice as a Dominic Reyes fan. Lonzo Minifield's another one that's like, yeah, it's 50-50. He'll either remove you from consciousness or he'll get removed. Really good that you can beat Nchokwu. That's one of my biggest litmus tests in light heavyweight in the UFC right now is, do you beat Nchokwu? Which, fun fact, Dusko did not. Dusko got them balls fried by Nchokwu. It was like groin strike after groin strike, man. That's pretty brutal if I remember that correctly. But yeah, this is another fight where like I didn't really see anything jump off the tape with these guys. Bruno's, this is only his second official UFC fight. Guy contender series contract last summer. Beat Magomed Ghazayev by unanimous decision this past January. So now they're giving him the old bull. See what he's made of. None of these guys really do anything crazy that I was seeing. They're both very much like walk forward, 1-2 calf kick, 1-2 calf kick, maybe getting some wild exchanges. Nothing really fun that they do. But I like Jacoby, man. I think he's gonna show this young pup what's up. I think he's gonna give him the old shellacking, and the odds makers, if I remember correctly, pretty much have it that way for a reason, you would think, right? And they have Jacoby at minus 205, Lopes at plus 170. I mean, if this is a fight you want to risk on, might as well at light heavyweight. Anything can happen. 66% of bets are on Jacoby, 34% on Lopes. I can't really disagree. You're not really getting anything good on Jacoby here. Decision plus 225, that might not be bad. Sub plus 1800 ain't happening. KO TKO is only plus 165. I think I'll just play it safe and take Jacoby money line. I think he does enough. It's a 15-minute fight, 3 rounds. He's got the experience edge. He's still young for light heavy, even though he's the older guy at 37. That's practically a youngin' as well. And he's just a tough old bird. What do you think?
I think the same thing, man. I'm also on Jacoby, and I'll also just take the money line. Over on Pickett, 86% of the bets are on Jacoby, 96% of the money. And so he was minus 198 when I went to bed last night. Now he is minus 205. So all the money's pouring in on him. The odd makers are shifting the line in the correct direction. So that doesn't scare me. too much. I like Jacoby a lot here. I think he's a better, more experienced guy, which once again, we talk about the age. 5 years isn't a big thing, but the guys Jacoby has fought versus the guys Lopes has fought, I just think Jacoby, I think he's coming in more prepared, and I just think he's got that striking edge. So I think he's going to go in and beat Lopes. The over in this match is 89% of bets, 93% of the money. So usually when you get to the big boys, that starts shifting a little bit more to the under. So the fact that we're still, 89, 93 when we're getting up there, that's impressive.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I'm going to do Jacoby absolutely with you. Knockout or money line. Knockout or decision seem like those are a high likelihood in this fight. So Jacoby money line. Let's talk about this fourth fight. We have Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovit Klein. This is an awesome match.
Yes.
This is gonna be slept on, but this is one of the better matches we've had in a while. Both these guys, very similar. They're both not huge name guys, but are both hugely talented. Like Klein and Gamrot, both these guys, very talented strikers. Gamrot, I think, kind of like we were just saying with Jacoby, he just has fought like the best of the best. Ludovit Klein, he's fought some guys, but there's been times too with Ludovit Klein that I feel like he might get a decision to win, and you're just like, I don't know. Or he just doesn't impress you, or he loses, and you're just like, man, I really thought he should have beat that person. Gamrot just seems like that dog. He's got that dog in him. Very split is what we're seeing here. About 59% of the bets on Gamrot, 41% on Klein. Hop over to the money, 54% on Klein, 45% on Gamrot. So, both the money and the picks are right down the middle. We're seeing some sharp money on Klein, but Klein's the underdog. And the sharps are taking the dogs. You get that extra money paid out that way. You hit more underdogs, you can lose more bets and still be profitable. Spread, I don't know who's betting spreads on any of these fights, but they're heavily in Klein's favor, once again, because he's a dog. And then total, the money percentage of the over, Bobby, with a purse right now sitting at about $27,000, 99.84%.
Wow.
Of the money is on the over, which, that's just a testament to how good both these guys are. They don't think anybody's getting finished here. I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. Initially, I wanted to go with Klein because, he, like the sharps, he's the underdog. But, man, there's just something. I just think Gamrot's just one step above him. Both these guys are good. I'm not trying to take anything away from Klein, but I just think Gamrot's just one step better. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Gamrot is a good striker, also a really good grappler, really good wrestler. Him and Sarukian had an amazing match where they just kind of stalled each other out, and with how accomplished Sarukian is for, Gamrot to just basically neutralize that the way he did. Excuse me, very impressive. Very impressive stuff. Yeah, I think honestly Gamrot should be a heavy favorite. I know Klein is kind of like the guy who's kind of on the up and up, right? He's kind of surging up, kind of like a guy who's making a late rush, a name, trying to get that top 5, top 10 status off of Gamrot and everything. But, man, Gamrot's already there, right?
Right.
Like another guy, he might not be the champ, but he's going to be perennial top 10 easy, just always hanging out with the elites of the elites. And he's already proven it. Klein's just too risky, and it's not enough of a underdog status to make it worth my while. DraftKings has it at plus 136 for Klein, minus 162 for Gamrot. The bets placed is at a bigger disparity. Gamrot's got 65% of bets on DraftKings, only 35% on Klein. So there's a big difference between the apps there for how people are kind of seeing it. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with Gamrot for those reasons. The striking's good. The grappling's good. Like you said, he's just going to be a step above. Klein's great. Klein's going to have his place, but his place is more like top 15. Yeah. Gamrot's top 5, top 10. And there's just a huge chasm in between the two, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it, man. Let's get to the main event, man. The main fight of the night.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber. I've waffled back and forth on this one a lot.
Yes.
Main thing it's going to come down to for me is there was this debacle with Maycee Barber. Maybe some of you old heads out there remember it. Maycee Barber and her sister were accused of like faking their BJJ black belts by ordering them on the internet or something. I
Oh
don't
my
know,
gosh.
but it was a real thing where they were accused of like paying for a belt through like the Gracie online courses that like I think Henner teaches or whatever. Ortega's coach is Henner, I do believe, Gracie. But anyway, that's going to factor into this fight. The reason why I bring it up is because at first I was like, Maycee Barber did really well neutralizing Julian Robertson's takedowns and like Julian Robertson trying to get the sub or the ground and pound finish like she did over Rodriguez. Like she just completely neutralized that, overwhelmed Robertson, finished her quick. Her striking's good. She's got good movement, right? She's built herself as the future. She had an unfortunate setback to Modafferi. She got injured, tore an ACL, I believe, in that
Yep.
fight. Came back, thankfully, looking pretty strong, right? She had all these ambitious goals, being the youngest champ to beat John Jones' record. Unfortunately, that kind of got derailed, but now she's back in the mix and she's back on the come up, and that's all fine and dandy. What starts to make me concerned is yes, if it's a striking match, I give the edge to Barber with her movement and just doing enough to stay busy, right? Just being mobile, kind of like the Valentina versus Manon Furo type thing. But here's
Hmm.
the problem: once it gets to the grappling, if Blanchfield can get the takedown, Blanchfield's a lot stronger and a lot bigger than Robertson. And every fight of Blanchfield's, she's so good at predicting what you're going to do next to where you can't defend, right? Like all of her subs, like the one against Molly McCann, for example. Molly McCann was trying to get up, right? Trying to frame. I mean, she was kind of being a little reckless with the frame and was like raising her arm up too much instead of keeping it close to her body. And that's what allowed Blanchfield to lock up the crucifix and secure the, I believe it was a Kimura finish over Meatball. She really likes that Kimura. She's really good with the knee on belly position and everything. But it's not just that, it's just everything that they do, the opponents do when she's grappling with them. She's just a step ahead and she counters it. That's just the most pressing example off the top of my head. Like, whatever your escape is, she already knows, right? Because that's how jujitsu, that's how grappling works. Everybody knows what you're going to do. How well are you at disguising it? How well are you doing it explosively in a surprising way? And then if you do get countered, do you then know the second step, right? What's the second counter? What's the third? And then if you're just exhausting your options, at least you know that you're trying and everything. But that's just what makes Blanchfield feel a step ahead. And that's where I think Barber's going to get in some trouble because Barber's good enough to know what to do to defend. But once she starts getting countered and Blanchfield starts neutralizing that, it's like, oh, I'm going to frame. But then, Blanchfield takes the frame away. Or I'm going to try, rolling maybe turtle or something. And then she takes the back and she gets the rear naked. Like she anticipates all this. And that's where I think Barber's going to get in trouble because Barber was tantalizing as the underdog. But I just really think that Blanchfield's strong enough in the striking to keep it serviceable and to use it to get the takedown. But from there, once she pressures Barber, if she can just get that pressure going, don't let Barber pressure her, right? Who's going to take the initiative is who's going to control this fight. Who starts the pressure first? If Barber starts the pressure first, Blanchfield could be in trouble. She's going to get backed up to the fence. So Blanchfield needs to stand her ground, use lateral movement, don't get backed up to the fence. And if she does get backed up to the fence, turn a defensive situation into an offensive one, right? Lock up the clinch, reverse Barber onto the fence through the use of the clinch, and then from there start working on her takedowns. And then from there, if she gets the takedown, like I said, Barber's toast. So plus 195 for Barber's tempting, but I just think Blanchfield makes this pretty grappling heavy if she's got a good game plan, which she should. She should have good coaches, and she should be able to probably get the decision. Sub, I might come to the sub maybe for a haymaker. We'll see. But I mean, as of right now, you got 76% of bets on Blanchfield, 24% on Barber, according to DraftKings. Blanchfield's the minus 238, Barber's the plus 195. I can't really disagree. I think Blanchfield's able to kind of control the pace. She's able to kind of stall this fight. She's able to dictate the initiative. She's able to keep the grappling going, do enough to win. and just Barber's kind of going to get neutralized. So, no, we talked about, how it's supposed to be scored, but you got to take into account Patrick's got a great system. And Patrick
Right.
is a little bit ahead of the game, so to speak, respectfully. But, yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. What do you think?
I think if Erin Blanchfield were in the room right now and she asked me who I thought would win, I think I'd be honest. I think if Maycee Barber was in the room with me right now and she asked me who I thought would win, I think I'd say Maycee Barber is my answer to you. Bobby, I actually really did think I was going to pick Maycee Barber when we started this because so many. I have a whole article series that I do on our website called the Women's Plus 3.5. Just saying, if you did take the spread from every women's fight blindly, what would that pay out? What would that be? Turns out, actually, it's not that good. I think it's just because the spread in MMA is just a fallacy. But we can get into that in a different episode. But the thing with Barber is that she started young and like she knew she wanted to do this, so her parents took her around, they traveled, and she actually like fought and competed in all these different like martial arts like growing up. And I think that just gives her an edge over so many other women that get into it. Like we were talking about her the other day. I think it was Rodriguez that like she got into it because she was a mom and taking like a self-defense course. Like a lot of people get into it on the women's side a lot later in life than like the guys who started in high school or the Dagestani guys that were, fighting and shanking people when they were 11 in the streets. Like it's just different in women's MMA. So I wanted to take Barber. But then the more I looked into it, Blanchfield's just so relentless, man. And if this is going to be the main fight, a longer fight, and she pushes that pace, it's going to be hard for Barber to keep up. And if you look at the numbers too, Blanchfield's already the more active striker than Barber is.
Yeah.
Barber only throws, is showing right now, 4.7 strikes a minute. Blanchfield 5.2. If Blanchfield keeps pushing that pace, Barber's going to keep getting more and more gas. I mean, Blanchfield, I feel like her last 2 or 3 fights have been main events. I remember at least the Manning Fiorello one was the 5-rounder. We really thought she was going to win that. I think Manning was just too big, which is something I didn't take into account. It was the size of Manning. Barber is not the size of Manning. I think Blanchfield gets it done too. I think Blanchfield, I'm going to say Blanchfield money line. I kind of want to go to decision. No, I'm going to do Blanchfield money line. On Pickett, I need to throw this out there. $69,000 on this fight over on Pickett, which for this fight sounds correct. But 74% of the bets are on Blanchfield. 92% of the money. That's huge for a fight like this with 2 talented fighters and Blanchfield at minus 238. Like a lot of the times, like you see Bo Nickel at minus 1,200 and he'll have 98% of the money. Okay, that's because all these people are just throwing their money on him, just, trying to get a little payout. And people just know the other guy's not going to win. Mm-hmm. But, there's not a lot of money on it. And this fight, there's plenty of money on it. And everybody's pouring it on Blanchfield. Like a lot of sharp money on Blanchfield. That's telling me something, man. That's telling me that Blanchfield is the side to be here. So I think we're absolutely right here with the money pouring in. But let's get to the haymaker, though. I want to hear what you have for us. In the haymaker, we do this every week. It's a big plus odd play that we give out at the end of every show that Bobby finds on DraftKings. And, guys, we also have parlays that we've been doing for each card now. We give it a fun name, throw it up. I believe last one was like 80 plus 80,000. They're crazy. So make sure you guys follow us on all socials. But Bobby, give us something in between the safe picks and the insane parlays. What is the haymaker?
I think I'm feeling more and more confident about that Blanchfield sub at plus 380. That's a reasonable amount, just enough to be heavy if it hits, and just reasonable enough to have a good likelihood, right? Because, over 5 rounds to work with, like you said, she has that 5-round advantage. The Manon Fiorello fight was a 5-rounder. She headlined against Andrade in a 5-rounder. So I definitely think she's prepared. And I think she's got 5 rounds, 25 minutes. I'm just not impressed with Barber on the ground. I just think that's her most unproven area. We haven't really seen her have to struggle with that in the UFC too much, unless you count Modafferi, which, I mean, I know the injury played a role in that, but Modafferi was able to kind of really, if I'm remembering correctly, dictate the pace of that fight. And if one Roxanne Modafferi can hold you down, I shudder to think of what two Erin Blanchfields would do in my deepest, darkest recesses of my mind.
Bobby, thank you for giving us that. That's gonna do it for this episode, guys. We have like UFC, I believe it's 316 coming up next week, and then 317 on the horizon. I believe I got those two numbers correct. We're gonna try to get Cat on for one of them, man. We gotta try to get Cat back in here because those are actually decent, you know.
Yeah. Gotta get them on the good cards, man. Nobody wants to get all depressed talking about fucking Turd Sandwich versus Giant Douche 6. Battle of the Douche.
No, we love Cat. We really do.
Yeah,
but
Cat's great.
He's got, his stand-up career. He's got a lot going on. He doesn't have time to come join these pieces of garbage fight night cards, dude. Which this was actually good. I'm not calling this one a piece of garbage, but we've had bad ones. It's all right. It's pretty good for a fight night.
Right. It's pretty good for rehydrated cat poop. Speaking of cat shit.
Yeah, right. That's good. Guys, so we'll be back next week. Make sure you follow us on socials for all the stuff we got going on. And if I believe, is that Merab versus Sean next week?
Let me double check that right quick because your boy's living life a quarter mile at a time right now.
I know. I
trying to
get
get too excited about poopy fights. 316. Yes, it is. Merab Devishvili versus Sean. Dude, weed, man. O'Malley. Yeah. That should be a decent one.
We didn't get any comments last time. I wasn't able to get rid of those signed Merab shorts.
So are you serious, dude?
I'm serious, bro.
Dude, I need to wear those at my house. I might have to buy them bad boys. I thought we gave those away.
No, man. We didn't have enough participation. So
hey, we still got signed fight shorts from Merab Devishvili then, folks.
Yes. So we'll probably do a giveaway next week too. And once again, just another reason to follow us on socials because we might not do it on the show. So follow us everywhere and make sure you subscribe to Better and Green for future giveaways and more content from us. Peace, guys.
Peace.